Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Maryam, Sister Maryam K. Muhammad, how are you doing?
I'm well, I'm well. Yes, always say the K.
Yes. When I see people use that middle initial, I try to remember that.
That's right, exactly.
Yes, so for people who don't know who you are, tell them who you are and what you do.
I'm the founder of Heal Thy Life Center, also the publisher of Heal Thy Life magazine, which is a free digital download. You can go to the website, which is www.heal-thylife.com. We have a lot of information on there as it relates to women's health and girls' health as well.
And what inspired you to make such a magazine?
Well, we started off doing workshops, I want to say maybe about 3 years ago. And from there, I wanted to bring it to another reality. So I wanted to put it in a reading source and then also the retreat source. So I wanted to have different avenues to get the information out.
And you mentioned the retreats. I, of course, as a male, have not been there, but I have heard the buzz from last year. Your retreats are very popular. What happens at the retreats?
So we take the women away from their stressors. We go into an environment for complete healing. It literally is so peaceful, so quiet. We had women who the first night couldn't sleep because they were used to hearing sirens or someone calling my name. So the number one thing is to put you in an environment where you can heal. And then we actually deal with whatever the impediments may be. A lot of times we spend a lot of time dealing with pain. Internal pain that a lot of women go through, and it's time that we no longer go through that level of pain.
And when you talk about pain and healing, of course there's obvious levels of physical pain that people have, but you're talking about emotional, mental pain?
Absolutely. So we deal with the mental health. But yes, and not just the pain on the surface, pain that we can identify. We go deep down inside and deal with the pain we really don't want to talk about. That will help us uproot what actually is on the surface. So we deal with a lot, one-on-one and group settings for the women.
Now I've heard the saying, and it's been repeated many times, that 75% of the work of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is with the black woman. Talk a little bit about how that relates to what you're doing with the magazine and the retreats.
Well, absolutely. So, of course, we know a nation can rise no higher than its woman. So, in order for our communities to get better, in order for us to become a village again, we have to teach the women. We have to actually be healed so that we can raise our children and change the condition of our communities. I remember my grandmother once saying to me that of course we know when you teach a male, you teach an individual. When you teach a female, you teach a nation. But it's deeper than that. So it's easier for me to pull a male. When I'm pulling a female, I'm pulling an entire nation with her because that's what we bear. That's what we give birth to. So it is more difficult when it comes to the female, and that's why we deal with the emotional pain first. And of course, a lot of people say women are emotional, but it's because of our heritage. It's because of what's on our DNA. It's because of what we actually witnessed, traumatic events during slavery. So we deal with all of those on all types of levels.
Talk a little bit about how you got to this stage in your life and career. Often I've seen you throughout the years doing things to help teach and inform and everything from paramedics and the whole nine. So talk a little bit about your personal journey and how you got to where you are.
Yes, I love science and medicine. I always have. So I would say, more self-educated. I get bored a lot in school, so I didn't last long. Like I plan on going back this fall for like a semester. So usually I'll go for a semester, but westernized education moves too slow. So for me, I am a licensed EMT. That was only one semester, so I was able to do that. Other than that, I'll do classes for certifications or talk to different doctors, psychologists for the mentoring aspect of it to learn more. I'm a researcher. I love to research. and I dig very deep. I'm very passionate as far as the healing of our community, period. So it's something that's been in me, and I'm very grateful to Allah because today it's being manifested faster than I can say ever before in my life.
Beautiful. And with all the stuff that you do, you also are a wife and a mother.
I am.
How do you balance all of that?
So yes, June will be 19 years of marriage. We have 5 children. I don't know how I balance all of that. I would honestly have to say that Allah really helps me. It's in my relationship with God because I go day to day. I can't plan a week out. I'm not one that can stick to a schedule. Of course, people know having children, there's no such thing as a schedule. So I don't know how I do it besides prayer and sacrifice.
That's a lot right there. Those are 2 big principles. And talk a little bit, if you will, about your what inspires you, what or who inspires you. You can answer that either way, either what or who really inspires you the most to do the work you're doing.
So I have different components of inspiration. Of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the core of my inspiration. My grandmother, Sister Bernstein, because she was the secretary of Master Fard Muhammad, my grandfather, who was my best friend, is, or more so was, the youngest brother of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So those 3 are really the core of my inspiration. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told me my grandmother is alive in me. And I know what I'm doing, I'm supposed to be doing. I'm fulfilling a purpose. That's my inspiration, that my faith. And I honestly would have to say, yes, those. I constantly think about my grandparents and the minister all the time in everything that I do. So outside of Allah and His Christ, for the 3 people, in addition to them, I would have to say the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and my grandparents.
Beautiful. And tell us again how people can pick up a copy of Heal Thyself.
At www.heal-thylife.com. So heal-thylife.com.
And talk a little bit about some of the experience you've had. You go and talk to young people a lot, and you have a diverse experience. You can understand some of the things they may be going through, and you have a great study from, as you mentioned earlier, your personal studies, and you are a wonderful teacher of Islam. So talk about how all those things come together and the impact it has that you get from the young people when they hear you.
I teach 9th grade biology at Muhammad University, and I love it, absolutely love it. I also mentor at different high schools, more so alternative high schools, because of course those are considered to be the teens nobody else wants to deal with. And I come across a lot of stories of pain, mistreatment, how they are lied to. You have young people who are considered to be in the system, but they go through the game of, I can acquire this diploma and then go off to get my degree and get a real job, which that's not going to happen if you're a felon. So it's like, it's a road for failure, and they're not telling them it's a road for failure. It's systemic. They put them in the system and they keep them in the system, and then we wonder why our communities are the way that they are, because we don't step in and control what they try to put our children through. A lot of times it's very hurtful what I see. There are times I go home crying. I mean, because I had a young girl, I want to say she was either in 3rd or 4th grade, and she said that when she leaves school, she has 3 men that she sleeps with on her way home. Another young girl around the same age told me that her mother puts her out when her boyfriend comes over. So many of our young girls are going through environments like that, and I didn't have a place to send her. I couldn't give her a resource to be able to take her out of her home, because when you put them in the system, they wound up getting raped in there too. So I think there's a lot of things that we have to do as a community to save our babies, because our babies are out here suffering and not even understanding why they have to. Another young lady told me her little brother is in 1st grade. She's in 3rd. She takes him home every day. She cooks, she bathes him, she makes sure he does his homework, and then she puts him to bed. They see their mom on the weekend. She is the mother in 3rd grade in that house. That's ridiculous. So it's so many realms that we actually do deal with and handle, and I would love for more people to step up and help, because I can't do it by myself. My team, we can't do it by ourselves. We need to replicate ourselves across this country so we can save our communities.
Beautiful. And the minister has said that this generation is the best generation that we have ever produced. Do you see that in your daily work?
Yes, yes. Their mindsets, oh my God. Their mindsets are absolutely beautiful. They already know, they're determined. It's like, I know I'm going to be successful in this area, be successful in that area. And they have this will, they have this strength about them to survive. So, for example, we'll have, well, just last week, I had a young man that sat in front of me and he was telling me about his plan. So I asked him, I said, so why do you want to graduate? What's your motivation? And he says, well, my grandmother's my motivation. I said, okay, that's good, that's good. So I can see you have a push, you have a drive to get you there. What do you plan on doing after you graduate? And he says, well, I don't want to go to school. And I said, okay, why? And he said, it's a waste of my time. So come to find out, he liked carpentry. So I told him, go to trade school. You don't have to go to a 4-year college for that. Go to trade school so that we can build our communities. So they have this spirit about them that they will change the condition of our communities. Another young lady, I was teaching her about vaccines, and she said she didn't vaccinate her baby. Didn't know why. She just felt inside her not to do it. And she followed the instinct that she received. So they definitely are ready, and if we're not ready, they just are going to move us out the way.
Beautiful. Is there anything that we haven't discussed that you want to cover or mention?
I would say it's time for us to be courageous, to take the stand, to change our lifestyles, and stop being in denial. We all suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome, all of us. And we have to be ready now to confront it and be able to remove that pain. We don't have to live in pain. We don't have to live in fear or doubt. It's not who we are. So it's time for us to be courageous enough to take that stand and say, I'm going to be who I was born to be. I am a descendant of the Creator.